Guatemala, the Land of Forests by Alyssa Thompson and Julie Bergman. Topics to be discussed: food, family structure, education, clothing, and religion. Food. Guatemala has food typical of other Latin countries, using foods that they grow. Some of those include chilies, corn, rice, beans, plantains, and foods coming from livestock. Their signature dishes are based upon older Mayan foods like stew and chile rellenos. They are also known for the chocolate from locally grown cocoa beans. Family structure. Guatemala has a very similar family structure to the United States, with the nuclear family being common: mom, dad, children, almost 1-to-1 ratio, male and female. The average age of the mother at first birth is 21.2 years, having 2.87 children. Mother mortality rate is 88 deaths per 100,000 births, which is very high. Likewise, infant mortality rate is high as well, 23 deaths per 1,000 live births. Life expectancy is about 71.8 years, so grandparents are also very involved. The family is one of the most important things, while the U.S. might not consider family as important. Education. Both males and females stay in school for 11 years, compared to our 12 years until high school or 16 years for college. Almost 20% of children over 15 are not literate, as education is not funded well, being only 2.8% of GDP. Due to the low amount of years in school, Guatemalans are starting work earlier. Only about 6% of those between 15 and 24 are unemployed. Like the U.S., many students work and go to school at the same time. U.S. is more individual, so students work for themselves. Guatemala is more family structure, so students work to help their family.
Guatemalan clothing is traditional to the Mayans. They wear Mayan clothes to respect their ancestors, so they wear colors like red, blue, yellow, and pink, as we can see in the pictures here. Women tend to wear skirts and square-cut blouses, and men wear open jackets and straw hats, and they are more Western style. The reason the men wear this type of clothing is it's just easier to work in and it's cheaper. So the religion in Guatemala is mostly split up into two categories, and those are the Roman Catholics are the majority. It's about 50%, and about 37% is Protestant Christianity, and the other 10% is a mix of other small religions, atheism, and agnosticism. They, specifically in Roman Catholicism, they do specific rituals to ensure the safety and success in their lives, meaning they will pray for crops to grow and their lives to be filled with children and those such things. And here are two links that I provided to show where I got these statistics from. So they are a collectivist culture. By this I mean that they work as a group. They are not individualistic. They want to work together and to come together as a group in what is better for society. And their families have a big role in their lives. For an example, they might be building a house together and everyone pitches in. No one is the boss or better than each other. In the US, though, we are very individualistic. We focus on ourselves and me and how can I be better than everyone else. Guatemala is a high context culture. They value interpersonal relationships and have a very close-knit community. Their nonverbal communication is very important. It's more valued than what is actually said. So for an example, someone is telling you that they are okay after one of their parents just died, but you're watching them and their body language and their expressions, and you can tell that the way they're acting does not fit that they are okay. So that is more important to the Guatemalan culture, to look at their nonverbal cues. Whereas in America, we place more value in the actual words being said, not the nonverbal language. Excuse me. They are also a high uncertainty avoidance culture, meaning they don't like change, it brings anxiety to them, and they prefer traditional rules. So to do that, they do a lot of planning. Excuse me. An example of this is that they are very old school in their traditions, and they still pray for things to come to them. And excuse me. The men are the rulers of the country and women don't really have a say. And one reason for this is because they like things how they used to be and they don't want to change that because of their fear of the unknown. America is considered a low uncertainty avoidance, and we can see that in how we are more accepting to change and have adapted to change as it has occurred. We have changed laws and passed different things to fit our new life in today. Guatemala has a high emotional display. They are not afraid to show their expressions and how they're feeling with anything. And sometimes this can be good, and sometimes this can be bad. In our, American perspective, it's good in that, it's very obvious on how someone is feeling, and you don't have to guess or wonder how they're actually feeling. You can very much see it, and they'll tell you. However, it's not always good in the fact that they, it can affect how their day is going for the rest of the day, and it can affect their job and so forth. But it is encouraged in the Guatemalan culture to be very emotionally expressive. An example could be that a large group is at a funeral, family, friends, and they're all crying together and supporting each other. In the U.S., however, you see on TV and everyone is wearing things to cover their eyes and their faces so that no one else can see that they're upset and crying. They're also a high power distance culture, and what this means is there's a rank of power. Not so much meaning that, someone is trying to do better than the other. It's more that, okay, here's a group of men, and they're all working together as a collective community, and the women are all supporting each other. However, men are the higher power in Guatemala. And the women and children always tend to be at the bottom. But in the U.S., we see for the most part that men can work, and they can also be the stay-at-home father, and women, same thing. They can work, or they can be the stay-at-home mother. We have a choice, and we have a say in America, whereas in Guatemala, they don't really have a say. If you're born a man, this is what you do. If you're born a woman, that's what you do. Lastly, they are polychronic culture. This means that they can have many things going on at once, and that's how they like it. They are very good multitaskers. However, they're easily distracted. They are going to have many things going on at once. For an example, a man can be working at the office doing his job while also eating his lunch and talking to his wife on the phone. In America, however, this would seem rude and unprofessional, and we would often think, how can you perform all those things at once and really be doing a good job at each of them? We focus on one thing at a time, and that way we can put our full attention on that one thing. However, in Guatemalan culture, they don't see an issue with that. They think that they can do it all at once, and there's no harm in that, and it's better that way for them.